Hello everyone! We're back again for another topic. Are you ready for another learning session? Now let's get started! Welcome to English class. I hope everyone's doing great. Today's lesson, we will discuss analyzing messages conveyed in a text, part 1. Here are the objectives. First, recognize signal words and expressions used to convey positive and negative messages. Second, identify whether the message in a sentence level or paragraph level is positive or negative. Let's try what you know. Read and answer the questions carefully. Choose the letter of your answer. 1. None of the grade 8 learners are allowed to go out to get their modules due to age restriction imposed by the government to mitigate COVID-19 infection risk. What word signals a negative message in a statement? A. Infection. B. Mitigate. C. None. D. Restriction. 2. I am very delighted that my teachers exert effort in communicating with us not just because it is their job, but because of the love and compassion they have for the learners. What word in the statement signals a positive message? A. Delighted. B. Effort. C. Love. D. Exert. 3. All the statements below express a negative message except one. A. After seeing my deep one, I thought I'd lose my lunch. B. I believe that COVID-19 pandemic will never disappear by itself. C. After days of waiting, now comes our most awaited game. Break a leg. D. Some hardly obey health protocol despite the constant reminders by the authorities. Before we move on to our discussion, let us have a quick review. Here is an examples of South Korean nonverbal communication culture. Read each of them and compare and contrast their culture with ours Filipino culture. South Korean nonverbal communication culture. Physical contact. Koreans are generally not very physically affectionate with one another. However, male friends may touch one another more than Western men, and girls may walk hand in hand. Personal space. Personal space is not guarded very closely in Korea. People generally expect to come into contact with strangers on busy streets and tend not to worry or apologize when personal space is invaded. Pointing. People do not point their index finger but rather with their entire hand. Beckoning. One beckons by fluttering all fingers to one's hand with the palm facing towards the ground. Eye contact. During a discussion or friendly conversation, Koreans make full eye contact with the person they are talking to. They avoid direct eye contact if scolded or rebuked by someone older or of a higher status than you. Some Koreans may also avoid eye contact with their superiors on a regular basis. Hands. Koreans use two hands or the right hand alone to offer or receive something. Gestures. It is considered rude to make a fist with your hand while placing the thumb between the middle and index finger. Expressions. Koreans tend to come across as quite straight-faced in conversation. However, their facial expressions can immediately expose their anger or disagreement. Smiling. As well as expression of glee and humor, smiling can indicate that one is feeling ashamed or embarrassed in Korean culture. For example, a Korean may smile when they make a mistake. Sneezing. Sneezing is considered rude in Korea. It is best practice to excuse yourself from the room if you have to. This time, let us answer this activity. Compare and contrast the Korean culture with our Filipino culture. Be guided by the rubric. Messages can either be heard or read. Let's find out as we take a look at the picture. It is easily recognized that message conveyed is negative. Now let's try this. Read the sentences and identify whether the sentence carry a positive or negative meaning. Put a check correspondingly. How did you come up with your answer? Did any signal words help you identify whether the message is positively or negatively conveyed? Now let's discuss the concepts on recognizing positive and negative messages conveyed in a text. The positivity or negativity of a message in a text can be recognized either through explicit markers or implicit meanings. As we continue, let us define what is literal and figurative. When we say literal, it means when the words or phrases mean exactly what they are supposed to mean. When we say figurative, it means when the message is implicitly expressed and departs from the dictionary meaning. Example: positive and negative messages in a text can be identified through explicit markers or signal words, phrases, and expressions. Let us take note that mathematical rules can also be applied in recognizing positive and negative messages conveyed in a text. Take a look at these examples. For our Activity 1, I Believe I Can Fly by R. Kelly is a popular song about believing in oneself to achieve personal goals. Using the lyrics of this song, fill in the crossword puzzle. Use the clues given below. Write your answer on a separate sheet of paper. For Activity 2, read the sentences below. On a space provided, write positive if the message is good and negative if the message is bad. Then underline the word that signals the positivity or negativity in the message conveyed. Activity 3. Identify which sentences are positively or negatively conveyed. Connect the dots to the tips of the arrows, respectively. Before we end, I want you to share what you have learned in our discussion. Write your insights, the challenging activities you have taken. For our final assessment, read and answer the questions carefully. Write the letter of your answer on a separate sheet of paper. Number 1. I, Captain. I will do what I am told. Yield the young cadet. What word in the statement signals a positive message? A. Do. B. I. C. Told. D. Yield. Number 2. Neither of my internet service providers satisfies my needs for online class. What word in the statement indicates a negative message? A. Online. B. Neither. C. Internet. D. Satisfies. Number 3. Which of the following statements expresses a negative message? A. No pain, no gain. B. A friend in need is a friend indeed. C. The news hit me like a tsunami. D. Although my aunt lives abroad, she sometimes calls us to say hello. For items 4 and 5. Number 4. Read the dialogue in the box. How is the message conveyed? A. Negatively. B. Positively. C. Neutral. D. All of the above. Number 5. How did the boy express his message? A. Euphemistically. B. Sarcastically. C. Idiomatically. D. Metaphorically. Congratulations, learners! You did an amazing participation. Thank you for joining today's class. See you in the part 2 of our discussion.